Balaji talks about like bowling alone but posting together. That's like just referring to Putnam's book Bowling Alone, how the communities are kind of disintegrating in the US. I think it was written in the 90s. But this is something like posting together, but also meeting together, but like posting together on a daily basis and meeting together on a bi-weekly basis. It's like people used to go to church, and actually in Africa and in some other places like Latin America, they still go to church regularly. But in the West, it's like kind of disintegrating quite quickly. And you could build like new rituals like this. It doesn't need to be like whole new religions, but let's say meeting, if not weekly, but let's say bi-weekly. It's kind of I mean, it's not such a big of an ask, or like such a big task to meet like twice a month. So but actually you should keep the fire going on.
Hello, welcome back to Mtambo Desk Podcast. My name is Jakub Mtambo, and the following is a conversation with Jakub Simek, a co-founder of Wezesha DAO and an author of Wisdom Enterprising. In today's episode, I'll be talking with Jakub Simek about his article, Network Archipelago, under the daily Balajisms series. And now, dear friends, here is Jakub Simek. Jakub, thank you for joining me again today.
Hi, Jack. I'm happy to see you.
Happy to see you too. Well, so let's jump right in. Balaji Srinivasan's concept of the network archipelago is fascinating. What do you think about his new kind of physical social network where a highly aligned community manifests its collective action in the physical world and crowdfunds properties around the globe?
Yeah, so the network archipelago is like the third step in Balaji's vision of creating network states. So first you start with the startup society that has a clear moral innovation in the form of the one commandment that distinguishes it from the mainstream society. Let's say sugar is bad. And so, or longevity is good, self-improvement is good. And so like with sugar is bad, actually for a keto kosher startup society, you actually want to have some kind of physical surrounding and physical community that meets in person. Because this will help you to to keep your diet or keep yourself fit, or especially also like if you have some kind of community build around CrossFit or some like exercising some so you want to have actually also physical community. So we discussed that after startup society, the next step is to build the network union, which is actually a non-trivial task of creating a highly aligned community capable of collective action that has a very high engagement. So if Twitter today has like 0.2% engagement rate, like you would get with the network union almost 100% engagement rate. Like almost 100% of your members, or ideally 100% of your members are, let's say, retweeting some request for for crowdfunding, or like some for investment, or like some kind of work of their members or something like that. So but we discuss also an idea or an example of a guild, like a digital guild of graphic designers that can stay as a purely network union and doesn't need to progress to the next stage of the network archipelago. But in the case of like the keto kosher startup society, where the society is build around diet, like a healthier diet without sugar or sugar-free and low-carb diet, then actually you want people around you to support you to have the similar diet. You could think about carnivore diet, like for people who eat mostly meat, or a vegetarian or a vegan kind of like startup societies. And here you want to have some physical property. Let's say it could be like it could be something like a hacker house. It could be something like a cul-de-sac, like some houses connected together. It could be like a restaurant and where or like some kind of like a startup accelerator or incubator, but that also includes like some cafeteria, where you can like serve this kind of healthier food, and it could grow in the future into like a part of the city where actually you have the shops are selling like healthier food, and the restaurants are serving healthier food, but basically it's like they comply with the smart regulation of that network Archipelago. And actually this could actually work, because I don't know, I mean, Taleb has this concept of the minority rule versus the majority rule. He says like both are problematic. The majority rule is like when the 51% actually decides what is good for society, and they try to push it onto the 49% that disagrees. So that's the majority rule. But interestingly, there is also minority rule, and it's the good example is vegetarians, which are actually quite a small minority. But in every at least here in Europe or in the US, I guess also as I remember from actually from Kenya, it's almost everywhere the same. That almost always you also get like a vegetarian option, in the restaurant. Of course, in Slovakia sometimes they do it like in a in a silly way. So they offer you like a fried cheese with potatoes, but there is like a layer of ham inside that cheese, which is
is that the halushki, or that's different?
That's the halushki is vegetarian because there is only cheese. No, actually, you're totally right. Halushki is a good example. Which is like something like gnocchi like the Italian gnocchi with some kind of special cheese. Actually, for Kenyans, it might not be actually that tasty. But this is also sometimes they use it like a vegetarian option, which is actually not vegetarian if you put bacon on top of it, but sometimes they sell it like a vegetarian option. Okay, but or they used to, but of course now people are much more like strict about like their diets, and also like of course this wouldn't work today, but like so basically every restaurant has a vegetarian option, even but there are just a very few vegetarians in population, this is like the minority rule, and basically it's asymmetric. It's like it's for you it's they are like very intolerant, meaning like in a neutral sense here, like technical sense, but like they are like very intolerant, meaning like they will not eat any meat if they are vegetarians. But for you it's not such a big ask, or it's not such a big cost to also include like the vegetarian option, and it's asymmetric in a way that if you are let's say you have a regular diet, so you're not a vegetarian, so for you it's okay to eat vegetarian food, but for them it's not okay to eat food with a meal with meat, so so it's asymmetric. And actually this kind of asymmetries are like because of these asymmetries, it actually can happen that you will get like like I don't know, like a conference where there is no meat served, but I don't know, 95% of people are actually not vegetarians.
I think those are great examples that you're giving. But Balaji believes that anyone with a laptop can launch a startup society with a clear moral innovation in the form of the one commandment. How does this work, and what role does this startup society play in the formation of the network archipelagos?
Yeah, so you can basically go to like thenetworkstate.com /dashboard, and you can see examples of like 26 startup societies that are kind of built around like some moral innovation of let's say van life is good, or cities without cars are good, or let's say Pan-Africanism is good for the Afropolitan. startup society. And you could have, like, for example, the vegan startup society and also the carnivore startup society that are actually mutually exclusive or mutually incompatible, but they are both critiques of the mainstream society and, let's say, of the food pyramid, like the traditional food pyramid, where you have like lots of grains and lots of like food like potatoes and so they're kind of like the carnivore diet kind of society. It's focused mostly just like meat and some vegetables, like, and low carb. And let's say the vegan, let's say vegan startup society would be like focused on like diet without meat, but they are both like critiques of the traditional, the mainstream kind of diet, and let's say the food pyramid as a concept that was like kind of then like reworked or used by various lobbyists in the agriculture sector, just like to kind of push their produce. It's just like kind of the way how like before people thought like, okay, this how the food pyramid should look like, and now how people are thinking about it is quite different. But okay, these are the examples of like various moral innovations that are actually could be incompatible, but the important point is that they should like be distinguishable from the mainstream society. So you have to have some kind of distinguishable features. So that's the moral innovation. So basically, you could have a laptop and create a landing page, or I don't know, write like some kind of pitch deck and come up with the moral innovation, and it should be as focused as a startup, so it should not be like 10 commandments. You are not starting a new religion, but you are just focusing on like one moral innovation which you like want to like really crush, or you want to really excel in that in that moral innovation. So, and then it's kind of also helps, let's say, some potential investors to then compare various startup societies who have like a similar or the same moral innovation. So like, let's say carbs are bad, or sugar is bad, so for some kind of like keto kosher startup society. And with the network union, now you are applying some kind of filter to actually recruit members who will be like your they will be like members of a club, let's say, but the key but you are recruiting people into a community, and you're not selling subscriptions. So it's like the new SaaS, the society as a service, so not the software as a service. But the difference here is that you are not selling a product or a service, but you are selling the community, basically. So it's like communal or collective goods. It's not just like individual good, like for the consumption of individual, but you are selling subscriptions to a community. But it's like a membership club, but the key point here is also that the money is not enough. It shouldn't be just like, if you are rich, you can be you can be member of this or that club, but it should be like you should have like clear alignment in values, and probably also some kind of behaviors that are like behaving like in-person levels of civility. That's how Balaji describes it in his like one paragraph definition of the network state. And then the behaviors are difficult to spot. It's you will find only after some time after some interactions with that member, and also probably some kind of backlinks, like which means like your references maybe from the past, like or something like that. So it's like beliefs, behaviors, and backlinks. That's what I came up with. But okay, it's just like something like a mnemonic to remember it, but Yeah, but okay, but subscription is also like important because you want to make money, but probably I mean pay not just make money, but also like to cover your costs, and also it can serve like an anti-spam measure, you know. But it doesn't need to be like high. The subscription could be like, I don't know, 300 bob, or like something like €3 or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, a month, or something like. Yeah, I mean, does it depends really on your costs, like, or what is the startup society about, what's the moral innovation, and what's the network union, like what kind of services are they providing. And then the network Archipelago, it's like yeah, if you Google Soho House, you can check that it's like a franchise of private clubs around the world that are focused on attracting or recruiting celebrities and artists, and like creative people, like designers, or like graphic designers, writers, media people, which is actually quite powerful people if they're like, let's say, opinion writers, or like op-ed writers for big legacy media. Yeah, so you have Soho House, and but they work as a franchise. Yeah,
maybe
so
on
you
this
could
maybe on the same maybe, sorry for disrupting you, but maybe would these secret clubs, or a safe example,
it doesn't need to be secret, but private club or something.
Yeah, private or yeah, sorry, maybe I should use private, but yeah, but I just wanted to mention like the Rotary Club, can it belong to the network union? Because yeah.
Well, it's just a metaphor, or just an example. Yeah, but it's also another club. I don't actually. I know that they do some philanthropy, but I don't know how they work. But like, or some other details. But in a way, like, yeah, you could have various these kind of societies, and there are some aspects that are similar.
Yeah.
And some aspects are like novel, or there is some innovation, especially like in terms of using Web3 blockchains, let's say NFT gating, making community computable. That's like one of the most important, I think, distinctions here. It's kind of like like, it's not like the Chinese social credit something system, which is like top down, and it's like, I don't know, but this is something that it's like horizontal, that it's like the community awards you, let's say, some NFTs or badges if you helped them, it's like a liking and retweeting, but you can have some other verbs there. So it's like, I don't know, if you helped someone, or if you like did some good job, let's say, yeah, there was like some task from a member, or you were working together on some kind of like a small project, and then you award each other some kind of badges, something like on LinkedIn, you have these like recommendations, but it could be like probably much more sophisticated, and actually very important. You are building also crypto history, like you are kind of like voting with your ballot, with your wallet, and with your feed in the network state, meaning like every meetup you meet, and every like crypto check-in you do in that network archipelago or network union. Basically, it could be just like two people meeting each other for a coffee, but like they can like prove that they actually met. They check in. They take like some pictures, or make some short video. And I mean, it's like to be like once in 2 weeks, but then they could do like daily digital actions, like together, just like posting together. It's like Balaji talks about like bowling alone, but posting together. That's like just referring to Putnam's book Bowling Alone, how the communities are kind of disintegrating in the US. I think it was written in the 90s. but this is something like posting together, but also meeting together, but like posting together on a daily basis and meeting together on a bi-weekly basis. It's like people used to go to church, and actually in Africa and in some other places like Latin America, they still go to church regularly, but in the West, it's like kind of disintegrating quite quickly. And you could build like new rituals like this. It doesn't need to be like whole new religions, but let's say meeting, if not weekly, but let's say bi-weekly. It's kind of I mean, it's not such a big of an ask, or like such a big task to meet like twice a month. So, but actually, you should keep the fire going on and like doing some. But I think this will kind of become natural, especially if there is this smart tasking and crypto tasking. Where people could do like this earning and learning, because actually learning and earning are quite connected. Like many people learn at school or at the university, but then when they enter the workforce, the company still needs to, I don't know, like give them lots of training, like before they are actually useful for the company, if they're just like fresh graduates. But actually this can change with this like crypto tasking or skilled tasking or some kind of like nano degrees, but not the nano degrees like but like or small like micro crypto credentials, where actually you learn like one particular task and you can already like start earning like based on that task, and then you progress to another task and start earning. So this is still an unsolved problem. Like of course you have like these business process offshoring or these BPO organizations, but and many are also in Kenya or in India. But lots of this work is not like it's like medium level skills, or it's like tagging pictures of AI. It's not like coding, but like a good example, and actually also like I wrote to some friends we know each together, like some Kenyan teachers, and also I want to do it myself. I think that's the next challenge that we should do, and it's like a Replit, like 100 days of code Replit challenge. And a Replit is like the adjacent possible. It's something that you can do today. You don't need to wait for the network state. You don't need to wait until you find your mate in the network state. But you can actually start coding, start learning Replit maybe today. So you are ready like once the Balaji kind of opens like some new tools, some new projects that he's kind of preparing. So you could be like then like, I don't know, earning through micro tasking, but skilled kind of tasking there. So I think like writing is great, like producing content, podcasts, writing, even creating like shorter forms of content, but then also like coding, it's like the next level, at least for me. It's like over 10 years I'm like I wasn't super focused in learning it, so just here and there. So that's like that's my great, I mean, not great, but that's my like really kind of honest advice to anyone. It's kind of sounds silly, like learn to code. It's like it's advice also for myself, for a younger myself, but also for myself today. Actually, like go to Replit and do the 100 days of code challenge, and just to prepare yourself for the network state. That's or the network union or the network archipelago. That's that's my suggestion.
Okay, that's really, I mean, fascinating. So if I understand correctly, these network unions can remain purely digital, or they can eventually crowdfund territory if their moral innovation requires interactions in the physical world. How do these network archipelagos work in practice, and what are some examples of physical manifestations of this community?
Yeah, so in practice, it could be similar to subscriptions and paying like a membership fee, like on an annual or monthly basis for members, plus being a franchise for that actually investors can invest in. So you have like a franchise. And then like a global franchise that gives you like the global branding, and it negotiates with vendors. It kind of gives you like this global brand. It gives you some buying power, purchasing power, and kind of like yeah, helps you with advertising and with keeping some like standards. Yeah, it gives you some technology, software. Yeah, you can come up with your own. Yeah, as we said, like startup society, network, network union, or network state, or you could become like a franchisee of an existing network archipelago. So imagine like something like McDonald's or a fitness, some kind of fitness center, fitness club. They also work as franchises. Then it would kind of mean like you are paying an annual fee and maybe some revenue share or something like that. Like an annual license, and you need to keep some standards, but technically you could just like you don't need to, not everybody needs to be a founder, but you could like progress from, you could just like, I don't know, work with an existing like a network archipelago. In the future you could become like a franchisee, like just like buy the license and run it yourself. And this is like the way for those like network archipelagos to scale to other countries. So imagine like a gym, like a gym membership and a gym franchise, like for people to exercise there. So it's not much different from there. What is different is that you are trying to attract people who in their identity stack have like your moral innovation very high. So it's not just like, let's say, it's usually, so it's some people who have it in their like Twitter bios or something, it's not like the 50th priority in their lives, but it's like they identify as cross fitters, or as vegans, or as, I don't know, or even like as Black Lives Matter, or as I don't know, Bitcoiners, it's like they're like very, 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 it's like very high on their identity stack. It's also another kind of Balajism. So you have like the moral stack, meaning like also some moral justification for your actions. So it gives, let's say, your company, your startup, the license to operate. So you also have to know like the history of your industry and all the failures and why you are kind of trying to build something new. So that's like the moral stack kind of concept. But a kind of similar thing is also identity stack, Balajism, or concept by Balaji, which is kind of like what is the top priority, like what are you patriotic about? Like some people are patriotic about their country, some people are patriotic about their city, let's say Voi town or Bratislava, and some are patriotic about their, like, I don't know, football club, or their job or their company where they work. Like, I don't know, like somebody's working for Google and is like super excited about it, and that's like his life. And so there are various people, and everybody has some kind of identity stack. And the question is like, what are you patriotic about? So imagine like a gym membership so you have like a membership fee, and the gym is operated as a franchise. So you could technically do like mergers and acquisitions between various gyms, and then you just like do the merger, and you do some new rebranding, and you can actually merge these network archipelagos, or you could buy them. So franchises are a good way because they have legal precedent. And it's like they operate in almost every country. Like you have McDonald's in many countries and various other franchises like this. So membership franchises, but what is different is this like moral innovation and like this identity stack. So your members have almost like a national kind of the sense of like building a nation, it's like, let's say the CrossFit nation or the Bitcoin nation, but it's something like in El Salvador, they're building this Bitcoin city or something around some geothermal energy and some volcanoes. So imagine like this, or Prospera in Honduras, it's like some kind of special economic zone. And with the network archipelagos, you are kind of like trying to build, let's say, like special innovation zones for longevity. That's something that is close to Balaji's heart. So then I think that this would be for people who are like really passionate about longevity, about like fitness, about like fitness trackers, about like healthy lifestyle diet, biohacking, smart regulation of medicine. So they are like really kind of aware of all the failures of the current establishment in this area, like how long it takes to actually approve the medicine. And let's say they would know that, let's say in India, it's a bit different because they have this generic drug industry, and actually, or in Kenya, even like the medicines are, okay, you have to pay at the doctor, but it's like it doesn't, then your medical systems don't have such problems, like said, as Europeans or the American ones, where it's like super expensive, like in the US, or it's like you have to wait super long times for some operations, like in Europe, in many countries. So, but like you have the insurance for like the really expensive things and like the emergency kind of room kind of things, but like for regular checkups and for just the flu, a regular flu, you basically pay at the doctor. I don't know. Is it like that in Kenya?
It's like that. Yeah, you pay the insurance, and at the same time, you can pay the money at the hospital.
And it's also like in India as well. But you have also some pretty good like hospitals in Kenya, right? And in India, I think that you can also have like some kind of like a combination of, let's say, some people have like I mean, some cheaper kind of prices or something, let's say when they're like elder people or something like that, so but we as like, let's say in the West, people think that I don't know, they have the best system, like I don't know, in the Europe or in France, or but the reality is like every system is like every health system has like major issues in the West. But if you look at Singapore and India as an example, and maybe even Kenya as an example, it's and if you combine these kind of innovations, you could have something like that, like for some special innovation zone around longevity and health. So that's another idea for network archipelago that is actually, I think that's like the main motivation of Balaji to actually write the book. The network state is like to create like a post FDA or FDA free zones, or like to not to end the FDA but to exit the FDA. That's like,
I think that's right. And maybe just to add it to what you have said, I think Balaji says also cloud first, land last, but not land never. So the network union can create its capital city in the cloud and have, say, for example, VR meetups in the metaverse. I think we had participated before. We had met. I mean, in the metaverse, during the VR meetups.
We had the VR lectures. We participated at these VR lectures of Balaji. So it was pretty cool. And actually, you don't need to have the VR headset. It was like 6 a.m. for you. It was 8 in the morning. But still, we were like, I don't know, like 100, some kind of funny kind of what is it? Not emoticon, but some kind of like it was just like a ball with eyes, and it's just like funny. But actually it was good because you could see like how people, when they're talking, you see that okay, their mouth is like being
moving.
open, and everybody kind of looks the same, but okay, there are different colors of these like characters, or and actually you can it's like 3D, you can float in space, and so there were like 100 people like listening to Balaji, and like some were floating in, or everybody was like kind of floating in the space, and you had some like nice surroundings, and you can like look at the people or bump into some people, and then discuss afterwards, like meet around some bonfire, to discuss it around some fireplace. And it was funny because also Balaji was like this small, funny kind of creature there, like I don't know how to call it. It looks like an emoticon. Something like
it was like
if you imagine a smiling emoticon like with big eyes, so that's like how we all looked, but different colors,
Yeah, but it's quite a good experience, Yeah, but it's interesting that also you mentioned about branding and culture. Balaji believes that network archipelagos will be about community first and business second, and can be thought of private clubs with membership and ability to do franchise deals with other network unions and network archipelagos. How do you see this playing out in the real world?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's important also for like these like diplomatic recognition in the future, because it's like there are legal precedents, and it's like not something like super weird. You have like it's like the so-called adjacent possible. So you have already franchises, you have already memberships. Let's say if you take a gym, so you have like a gym. Or some kind of CrossFit center, or I mean, I'm not a CrossFitter. I don't know how this works, but you have like, let's say, some kind of a gym membership, a gym franchise, and let's say there is another gym, or it's like something similar. Let's say it's complementary, so it's not a gym, but it's let's say it's focused on Muay Thai, so like Thai boxing or something like a gym. It's like one is like for weightlifting, another one is for like for Muay Thai, like Thai boxing or something like that. And they do a merger, and now they can offer like both services to their members for some reason. Maybe it's not a good example, but it's just like on the top of my head, just like. But franchises are important because it's like a peaceful and legal precedent, and it's also pretty different from it's quite different from like the nation states. I mean, okay, you have like the purchase of Louisiana. You had like some kind of Alaska, being sold. I think sold to the U.S. Now Donald Trump wanted to buy Greenland, but it didn't work out. Okay, but this is a bit different because you are not actually just buying territories. Okay, it could be real estate as well, of course, like you are buying like physical gym, not just the company, the goodwill or the brand and the equity. But also like a real estate, but it's like there are legal precedents, and it's pretty normal. It's not like something strange. And what is like different here, I think, is that, as we discussed also before, that you have you have this like high trust society. You have, and let's say, NFT gating. You have a community that is computable, where you get like a horizontal resume as well, not just like a vertical one of, let's say, your superiors like giving you references that you are a good employee, but you also like can receive various badges, various like kind of points from like other members of your community. And also importantly, where you can earn as well. So let's say, imagine like if you had like you have something like a crypto Twitter, where you pay like a monthly fee, let's say €3 or 300 shillings, 300 bob, something like that. but actually you have like a feed of tasks. Okay, now I'm not talking about the gym membership anymore, but let's say more of this like the digital guild of graphic designers, and you are having something like a crypto version of Twitter or Discord, maybe better. It's a better example where you have some feed of tasks, and even for the gym it could actually work. And actually that's we had during these like 1729 lectures in VR, the Balajis, we had these like it's like a proof of workout, which is a funny kind of way thing, because it's like proof of work, but it's like a proof of workout. So I don't know, you take a screenshot of your fitness app and you post it there. And this is something that you could do daily, and you receive some badges or some points for it. So you don't receive money, because this doesn't require some kind of skill, only just taking a screenshot. So it kind of requires you to show up, so you get points for showing up, but then you receive only some remuneration, some crypto, let's say, for completing some useful tasks for the community. But it could be even, I don't know, like just like production of some promotion videos for the community or something like that. Now, when it requires like real skill, and not everything should be paid, because you are not doing it just for money, but it's part of it. It's like learning, burning calories, and earning. So learning, burning, earning. So yeah.
Okay. I think this is interesting. But it's also interesting to think about the potential of these communities to create a special innovation zone, like China did with the special economic zones, and to increase human freedom and wealth. What do you think are some of the potential benefits and challenges of this approach to a nation building?
Yeah, there are countless of challenges, because this is something new. I think it's quite different, let's say, from something like Prospera in Honduras, because there you are focusing on seasteading or micronations or charter cities. So Prospera is something like a charter city. And this approach is a bit different, because you are starting, as you said, cloud first, land last, but not land never. So you already are trying to build like a strong community, activate your social graph, build a highly aligned, and like community capable of collective action that actually can prove, like, let's say you have 10,000 programmers or coders, that actually can prove, like, on chain, that they have this amount of money that they are willing to invest, and they have this number of members, and they have this kind of like portfolio of skills. So and you could prove it with like on-chain credentials, and let's say negotiate with some cities or some countries, like, and relocate there. So it's like the concept of a crowd choice that Balaji mentions. And so, but of course you could have many foreseen and unforeseen challenges with these approaches, but on the other hand, you could have also many opportunities that, in a way that it might actually, Balaji thinks that, okay, or he tweeted before that 2020s will be about startup cities. It's like something like a charter city, but maybe a bit broader definition. And the 2030s will be about the network states. And now he kind of thinks that it might actually come sooner, maybe within this decade. And actually what happens is sometimes that actually Balaji, it's not 5 years ahead, but only 5 months ahead, because the reality catches up. But it could actually be in sad ways as well. Not to make any predictions, but like imagine like one good feature of network states is compared, let's say, to charter cities, is that network states are nuke proof, meaning like they're like nuke proof like the internet. The internet actually was invented for the case of nuclear exchange. So there is like it's decentralized, and actually you can't like destroy it by the nuclear attack. And the concept of a network state is also like, and it's digital first, and so you could have like pockets of it's fractal, and you could have like your members all around the world, but they have the same virtual capital city in the VR, in the cloud. They have let's say in the future they have their own cryptocurrency, they have their crypto messaging service, they have their like
leader
proof, also the leader, but also they're sufficiently decentralized, and they're not like just NPCs following some leader, but they have a recognized leader. And they're nuke free in a way that that it's fractal. It's like you can't nuke internet, it's or it's something like you can't call Satoshi Nakamoto when I don't know, you forget your password or your passphrase,
or you send bitcoins to the wrong address. It's just the same as email. You cannot rewind it. When you send the email, it's gone.
And because it's protocol, it's not a company. And it's also kind of in a similar way, like, okay, you can call Mark Zuckerberg to witness in front of Congress, but you can't call you can't get, I don't know, an email, because email is not a company, it's a protocol. So if you are like, I'm so dissatisfied with this email thing, but it's just like, it's an email, there is no one you could like just complain to. So hold accountable. But of course, like, you can have like some hybrid kind of forms, and like not totally decentralized, and you have some founders. Let's say you have Vitalik Buterin, like from he's a recognized founder of or co-founder of Ethereum, but he's not like Satoshi, because Satoshi is a disappeared founder, and he might actually have died, probably like of some disease, if it was like this Haley Finney guy. That guy was like the first one who communicated with Satoshi, so it probably it could be so it could be like could be him, as so then he's kind of like a disappeared founder, which has a different kind of symbolic around it. But like that's quite a nice feature in this world, that it's like nuke free, and it's it's quite decentralized, and it's digital first. So it's a bit different than, let's say, a charter city, or like a micronation, or like seasteading platform, because like these are kind of attempts at some kind of like nation building innovations, libertarian innovations, but they make the mistake, according to Balaji, they make the mistake that they start with land first, and then they could be like just a bunch of guys, and somebody can come up to them and just ask them, you and what army? It's like means like you and what community? There is no community behind you. But if you have let's say if there is like at least, if it's like 1 million people who rely on you for their living, because they do like some daily smart or skilled tasking on your platform, and you are providing jobs to 1 million people. And also a sense of community, and a sense of belonging, and I don't know, all these kind of things. Then you have some attractions, and you need to be like taken seriously. Or if you have, let's say, 1,000 of like super highly sophisticated and skilled, like the top AI researchers, the top I don't know, like startup builders or something like that. So it's another model, and you can of course have a hybrid of it. But if you have like 1,000 like super skilled people, especially in like, let's say, cybersecurity, because as we discussed before, like Web3 people are like cybersecurity veterans because they get hacked all the time. And if you have these kind of people, let's say, who can protect you from drones and hackers, and like then it's also another way how I think these kind of novel institutions or novel kind of forms of organizations will be taken seriously. So you could have like quantity, you could have quality, you need both. And you need some novel solutions, actually, not just let's say new people and new liquidity to let's say to Web3, but you also need some new solutions, and making the community computable through actually on-chain like crypto history and on-chain census. It's a novel thing, and it's happening, it's happening. So it's something probably that was not possible like 2 years ago, or even like 1 year ago or something. So it's because there is progress in these like layer 2 blockchains, and so yeah, it's like they're very early, but they're becoming scalable.
Jakub, thank you so much for wrapping up this episode very well. And also, it's a pleasure to have you on Mtambo Desk podcast, sharing insightful discussion on Balaji Srinivasan's concept of a network archipelago.
Thank you, Duke. It's great talking to you, and we are slowly going to our final episode of the season. So, yeah, it's amazing. Thanks for sharing these moments with me and discussing Balajisms on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's very, very good experience having these discussions on a daily basis. It's a great challenge. Yeah, sometimes we even sleep late just to discuss this, but yeah, it's a great challenge. And yeah, finally, we are almost through the first season. And yeah, I'm really looking forward also to the next season.
Yeah, we are testing the daily digital collective action, because I mean, we are two, so it's collective action, and it's almost daily. It's like 5 days a week. Now I have a small break in writing these daily Balajisms, but we are still doing the videos, and yeah, it's like it's like a almost daily collective action. So it's great. Yeah, we are doing what we are preaching, meaning like, yeah, I mean, we are testing what we are talking about. It's not just like talking about the book, but trying to live by the book.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed listening from Mtambo Desk podcast, don't forget to subscribe, give this episode a thumbs up, and be sure to come back next week for another episode. Until then, this is Jakub Mtambo, and don't forget to do good always.